Hello, beloveds. Welcome back to my channel or to my channel for the first time. This is a question that shows up in my inbox quite frequently, and I haven't addressed the topic of business much on my channel. I think I'm going to a little bit more just because people are asking about this quite a bit, and I do have quite a bit of experience with numerous businesses. I've been an entrepreneur on the side since I was 20 years old, 19 or 20. So I've always been self-employed. I've always had businesses, and then I found my passion in yoga when I was about 26, and then I've studied it and I've turned it into a business. And before I get into the 5 tips of how to turn your yoga into a business, I do just want to address the question or this big misconception about money being unspiritual. So if you're a yoga teacher, or if you're in the conscious industry, like if you have a business that is a conscious business, that's a business that wants to help people. Most people who are teaching yoga probably started this because they want to help people. And in order to help people the most, we have to come from a full cup. We can't be pouring people's cups with a depleted cup. So this means we must be strong and abundant in all forms. And the thing about money is there's this weird idea of it being unspiritual. But if we want to help the world as much as we can, of course we need money in today's modern world in order to do that. Yeah, it's very beautiful. There's, you can be a monk and give up your life and go sit in a cave, and that's great, especially for you. But what impact is that actually having on the world? Today we have YouTube and we have ways that we can connect with everyone, and it's definitely difficult keeping a spiritual practice while you're online all the time. I'm constantly having to check in with myself and stay balanced with that. But it's also an amazing opportunity to get your message out there and to help people as much as you can. When we're doing well for ourselves, we inspire others to do well. When we're chasing our dreams and we're having abundance in all forms, that shows people that 1, it can be done, and 2, there's nothing wrong with it. Of course, I'm coming from a tantric perspective, which really I work with the goddess Lakshmi probably more than any other goddess. I just resonate with her deeply, and she is the goddess of prosperity in all forms, the spiritual and material world. And the key to this that I tell my clients especially is that you can be the most spiritual person and be, a multi-millionaire. That's fine. And you can be on Instagram saying that you're a yoga teacher, and be very detached from your spirituality, from your spiritual self. So these are just roles that we're all playing. And, if you're playing the role of a lawyer, say really, successful lawyer, that doesn't mean that you're unspiritual. The thing is just really detaching from that role, knowing, playing it, but knowing that it's not reality, and your true self, really staying true to your true self. So maybe you have a big number in your bank account, but if you're doing your spiritual practice, then you're remembering and staying in your truth, and knowing that if that money disappeared one day, your happiness and your inner peace will not be affected. So it's okay to play these roles. Everyone's playing a role. You play the role of a sister, a mother, a coworker. You play out these roles, and that's fine. And you may be a lawyer, you may be a yoga teacher. Not everyone who's on a spiritual path needs to be a yoga teacher. So I'm rambling on a little bit about this, but it is a topic that I'm seriously asked all the time. It's brought up a lot, and if I post anything on my Instagram, for example, about business or success, I do get a lot of messages trying to say that it's unspiritual. And sometimes when I see with a lot of other spiritual teachers online as well who are charging for their services, and then there's some people attacking them for that, saying that they shouldn't charge for spirituality. And it's just an energy exchange. And it's another form of abundance. If I'm giving you something value that's going to add value to your life and make you more successful, why wouldn't you pay me for that? And, exchanging energy. The money is going to better my life. The information is going to better your life. So, we both win-win. So there's nothing unspiritual about that. Okay, so top 5 ways, in my opinion, to turn your yoga into a business. So number 1 is an interesting thing. So I have been teaching at festivals all over the world for the last few years since I started teaching yoga, really. And when I first started teaching yoga, I was in the East, and I was around very like authentic teachers who, you know, when you're in their presence that they're really practicing. And of course they're not, you know, in the Western world where we do have a lot, like my practice is much more, it's just better when I'm in the East because I don't have, you know, all these distractions. Even the level of consciousness is just different there, and it does affect you. So when I came over to the West and started working at festivals here, there was such a shift in the teachers, and I'm not saying anything bad about any teachers or anything like that, but there has been a lot of times in America and Canada when I'm teaching, and there's these diva yoga teachers, and it just really surprised me because, you know, to be a yogi and to be practicing yoga, that's really the opposite of the effect that it should have. So these people clearly aren't really deep into their practice, but they're, you know, they're online and taking pictures of them doing advanced poses, and then they have a big following, so then they show up at these events and they're really rude to the staff. And like, I used to volunteer at festivals too, so I've had like a lot of teachers be rude to me as well. And the thing is, and this is for any, like, the things that I'm sharing here are really for any business and any career that you have. Like, you have to respect people and, you know, not get into this diva or self-entitled kind of attitude. And the thing is, if you want to be successful and self-employed, you need to be nice to people. Sometimes you need to make sacrifices at the start of your career. So I worked for free for a long time. I obviously had like jobs on the side where I was making money as well, but I would take, when I first became a teacher, I would take anything. So events, festivals, I still work at some festivals for free because this is marketing for me. But I've seen a lot of teachers turn down amazing events because they're not getting paid or they don't like the time slot that they're on. And you need to really understand that from a business perspective, we can't be picking and choosing at the start of our career. We need to get out there so people know who we are. We need to network, and we need to be respectful of the organizers and the people who have taken the time to hire you, even if it's not paid. That's just sometimes how it is. If you want to be a public speaker, you know, some of my favorite public speakers said that they were only working for free the first 2 years so they could get that experience. So if it's something that you're passionate about, make a few sacrifices, stay humble, and work your way up. Know that it's not all going to come to you right away. The second tip is to expand your offerings. This is one of the best things about being a yoga teacher. If you're in the health industry, if you're in fitness, yoga, any of these topics, it's so broad. There's so much that you can go, so many places you can go with it, and you're self-employed. So you can, you know, write books, ebooks, you can have a YouTube channel, you can be present on other social media platforms, you can teach and offer people things. Like, again, some of it has to be for free. All this time on YouTube for me, I really don't make anything from YouTube. So this is something that, one, I like helping people, and from a business perspective, of course, it's getting you potential clients if you're online all the time and sharing what you have to offer. So of course you need to expand out of that, though. You have to actually offer something. And, you know, you might, again, with the sacrificing thing, have to work in a studio for a couple of years to get that experience full time. You know, you have to put the hours in, and then you can start expanding. You have the knowledge, you have the experience. And really, there's just so much you can do. Of course, you need to be motivated and you need to have a clear vision, but really the options are endless. So expand outside of the studio. You can do online programs, you can do programs in person, you can do retreats. There's so much we can do. So expand and, you know, really brainstorm on where you want your career to go. Tip number 3 is to study business. One thing that I have learned is that yogis aren't really the best business people. Of course, there's exceptions, but naturally, I think we have this story that we tell ourselves that, you know, we want to help people and we want to remain humble and we want to be a yogi, so we don't actually want to approach it like a business, because something about business and money and that whole idea is unspiritual and it's inauthentic. There's, this huge misconception with that. But if you want to be successful, if you want to help the world as much as you can and be abundant, you need to understand business at least a little bit. So if you're going to hold retreats, if you're going to, do anything with money and you need to be organized, take some business lessons, read some business books. I've been reading business books since I was like 16. I've been reading finance books. Like, I have a general understanding. There's still, it's confusing stuff. So if it confuses you, don't feel bad about it, but have a general idea of how to manage a business. It's obviously very important if that's what you want to do. So number 4 is to network. And again, this can apply to any business. You need to network. You need to know the community. You should know your customers as well, but you should know the community. Know what's happening in it. Watch other people and see what they're doing and see what successful people in the business are doing and meet with them. I had a couple mentors when I first started teaching yoga, and I have followed in their footsteps with many things. My approach to my own business, I learned a lot. So if you can, again, it's starting from, making the sacrifice. Ask someone if you can help them for free, just so you can learn from them, and go to festivals and know the teachers who are doing well and who are teaching what you want to teach. We're not expected to do everything on our own. If you talk to anyone who's successful entrepreneur or in business, they'll tell you that they didn't do it on their own. They've probably had a group that they even meet with and inspire each other, or they have community. So the last tip, number 5, is to give back. And maybe you're thinking, okay, I'm not making that much money right now. And the thing is, maybe not everyone will agree with this, but I have always felt this in my life, that when you give back, it always comes back tenfold to you. So when I was a broke university student, and I remember I had $15 to my name one time, and there was a homeless man on the street. And I went in and bought him some food, and we had lunch together, and that was basically half of the money that I had for that whole week. And miraculously, it came back to me 3 times more the next evening, and I had food for the week. So that's just like a quick example, but this has happened to me my whole life. I always give back, and I always get it in return. The universe feels that, again, it's an energy exchange. It's always coming back to you because you're on that frequency of giving. You're on the frequency of giving and receiving. When I first started my business, I didn't have much money. I didn't know how I was paying my rent, and I did a fundraiser for people over in the Middle East. There's always issues going on there, unfortunately, but there was some big issues going on, and I saw it on the news and I was just torn up about it. So I did this fundraiser, and I think I ended up making more money personally than if I didn't have that fundraiser, because it actually ended up giving me all this attention, and I was being featured in different blogs and on the news. That wasn't my intention with that. I just really felt like I needed to help these people, or try to, and it turned out to be beneficial for me as well. And of course, once you start making more money and you're attracting more abundance, then you have the opportunity to help people even more, which I think at the end of the day, that's what we all want to do if we're teaching yoga. I hope so anyways. So once you have money, you can give back way more, so don't feel bad about wanting to have material success. Just don't identify with it. So those are my top 5 tips for turning your yoga into a business. If you have any questions, and again, if you like this topic and want to learn more about it, please let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. Sat Nam.